I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. The headlines. A LUSAKA man tortures his house after a marital dispute. Veteran journalist, media trainer EDEM DJOKOTOE dies. VEEP assures child protection in Zambia. And in international news, flash floods wash away homes in Sudan over 60 days. And in sports, Premier League champions Manchester City charged after pitch invasion on final day of the 2021-2022 season. Join me with the details after this commercial.
Are you a business organization or an individual with a dream to register your presence in Zambia and around the world? Waste no time, because Camnet Television is offering an opportunity to sponsor any of the following programs: the main news, national matters, breakfast show, the verdict, partnership of greatness, economic briefcase, business and sports news. For more details, call following numbers. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
In other main news in detail, the media fraternity in Zambia mourns the passing of veteran journalist and media trainer EDEM DJOKOTOE. Media Liaison Committee Chairperson Enoch Ngoma says the late DJOKOTOE touched many lives through his journalistic work. Media Liaison Committee Chairperson Enoch Ngoma says Mr. DJOKOTOE dedicated his entire life to the journalism profession. Mr. Ngoma says Mr. DJOKOTOE mentored a lot of Zambian journalists who have carried on to promote professionalism in the industry. EDEM DJOKOTOE lost his fight against colorectal cancer. He was a Ghanaian-born Zambian resident known as writer, educator, and poet.
Contributions from Mr. EDEM DJOKOTOE to the media industry in Zambia cannot even be counted. EDEM dedicated his life to the media fraternity. He was an accomplished trainer. He was also a journalist who was able to contribute in terms of ethics and ethical reporting in our country. EDEM, we remember him as a media trainer, and most of us journalists in this generation indeed passed through his hands when he was a trainer at Evelyn College. EDEM was also an accomplished journalist in that he was able to write news articles, features, columns, which were well articulated and could leave no doubt in the mind of a reader every time one reads EDEM's articles. EDEM DJOKOTOE was also a mentor to the upcoming journalists. He would be engaged in media houses to mentor journalists.
An angry husband of Lusaka's Kanyama compound has left half of his household properties and his wife's clothes burnt in an act of revenge after the breakdown of their marriage. Norton Motoka, 24, set the clothes of his 18-year-old wife and 2-year-old child on fire Thursday after his juvenile wife decided to end their abusive relationship. In an interview with Camnet TV, the 18-year-old victim says she is now stranded after her husband of 3 years destroyed all their clothes, food, property and valuable documents which they had in the house.
In a sad development, an 18-year-old mother of one has been left stranded after her abusive husband burnt some of her clothes and household properties in a fit of rage after the breakdown of their 3 years marriage. The victim, who lives in Lusaka's Kanyama compound, has revealed that her husband, identified as Norton Motoka, aged 24, is in a habit of physically assaulting her on a daily basis, accusing her of infidelity. Fearing for her life, she says she decided to flee to her sister's place after her husband made repeated threats to stab her with a knife and their 2-year-old child, but she later reported him to a community human rights-based organization where they advised that the couple separate.
Kujao takambisa na vintu vasira. Na wauza tia isinku funani. Muzakani pa ya denango. Muzakani pa vema mbonya mke yote mfuno nyamula ichi. Muzakani ilasa naifi. Wakwatu wakabutike. Leweze tacho kamenje ukoti kujawarembea na chanichi. Wawarembea sapotia mwana tumzileta every month. Kubarembera na kujotuka chepanja pakoti wakangamba katika pepa wakangamba kapepa tabwera kunutibwa niwauza mpaseni makiweze endisa tawafipeza bafingira mshopu mujastiza mshopu veze chita mpaseni makiti endestenge unanti bantu bafuna ndogulisa ndemwe tabwerera kuno iya kazendani za upezani kashi bebe bapita so batamanga kakwezi wandotenga petro nje kubwama nje kushoka hivi vintu.
And the girl's aunt says the family wants justice to prevail.
So, ni last week, unkalamba wakwa isa mkushi mkila nti umfueni ufale ikala, umwana senge wenu. So, inufuna shile mwatu, tafiweme, elo ngapaba problemu yo, beta na feku familia chaume. Kula kuine balanda fiapo, nishitaba tuitila ifue familia chana kashi. Kaili nga tupa hili, so nge mwachibana ngoma hilo, bulabu shungari mwipaya. Pantolo alifumie fishimbi na mana ifi, bali babili. Aishireto bafi katundu imbale fiose fya mwandalito. So that's why alisafulwa afuma abutoka nukuisa yako victim. So we fought the police.
And the human rights advocate Richard Nkua says his organization Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights will work on sending back the victim to school and has since called on other well-wishers to come on board and assist the victim.
This is high time we should urge women and parents and also the stakeholders to say we shouldn't allow our children to enter into the marriages at the tender age, because these things also they are part of the cause of gender-based violence. We totally condemn whatever is happening right now.
Meanwhile, neighbors have alleged that Motoka is fond of physically attacking the victim.
Maningi kushashaka mpabe tachuke kuchukua sanga hapo na freedom deni kumenyana deni maskando mamuna pasika pesa nzogula pete kushashaka mkazi mnyumba nshimandie chani na pongo ndia benza wanga bopinde saka yanga menga nza pera mnyumba manje kozi muchinje asembe enze mwana wanu mera chitaso asembe mwachita bwanji bukonkoloka pongozi muchinje
mkazi na ifi manje sembe sikuchoka mwatawe sembe sembe afelata.
It is becoming a common occurrence, an everyday thing. Barely a day passes in Zambia without the report of a case of violence against women. Child marriage, on the other hand, remains an issue that requires urgent attention. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Residents of Mtendere B near Mahatma Gandhi school grounds have threatened to demolish 16 shop structures located outside the school library, alleging that the land was given out by the councillor without following due procedure. In an interview with Camnet News, the residents, who rose in unison, have given the area councillor Boniface Chibeka a 24-hour ultimatum to clear the air, failure to which they will take it upon themselves to demolish the structures. Meanwhile, in a recent interview with Camnet News, Mtendere Ward 34 councillor Boniface Chibeka shared documents with Camnet TV stating that the plots were advertised and legally given out by the Lusaka City Council.
Land allocation in communities has remained a contentious issue, and civic leaders such as councillors have often found themselves at the center of these wrangles, being accused of illegally allocating land for personal benefit. This is the case in Lusaka's Mtendere Section B of Mnali constituency, where some residents Thursday morning rose up in protest against the construction of 16 shops near Mahatma Gandhi school grounds, as they have accused the area councillor Boniface Chibeka of illegally allocating the land and pocketing funds. They state that while the construction of the shops is aimed at stopping indiscriminate waste disposal that takes place at the same area, the act has been done illegally. The residents have since given the councillor a 24-hour ultimatum to clear the air, failure to which they say they will take it upon themselves to demolish the shops. The residents were speaking to Camnet News.
We have a complaint as residents of Mtendere about this project going on here. We want to find out who is issuing the plots, because there are so many conflicting, statements. One, it is the councillor, or it's somebody else from the local council, whatever it is.
If at all it was advertised, we could have known. But a number of people here who are building understand they are coming very far. They are coming very far. Who gave them some offers letters? We want to know the person who wrote those offers letters. We want to see those offer letters, so that the Minister of Local Government, he wants to see those letters. Failure to that, residents have agreed that they don't want to see anybody starting from tomorrow. They don't want to. Anybody who's going to found here is going to be picked and locked up in the police cells.
Chifukwa mashopo enamangiwa hapa nimo vachabe negulitsi wamo kupe kuti wagulise mavhiti na vhiti aolounga nimo vachabe na business yamo. So manje tizachita bwanji veve vafunika chafaka konzerwa president patianganeko sekuno kumtendere chifukwa wa yesterday vanali vanabwera vena maimba kwamba pisha vajani kuja kuti vachokeko vafuna tu ambe kumba foundation ambe umangako chifukwa chana maimba nala kansela vanakangiwa kuti atenge chinangalero vabwera bwanji kuti abwatenge chifukwa kansela amene alipo ni mulamu wawo awe iyayi sifuna na mashopo hapa iyayi vibwanyiwe.
Meanwhile, Mutendere wa 34 Councillor Boniface Chiveka recently told Camnet News that the shops were given legally following due procedure at the Lusaka City Council, LCC.
Of course, come to my office for advice or go to Lusaka City Council through the office of the town clerk. People will be advised on how to apply for land. Just watching a land adjacent to you just for years does not make you the owner, no. Kindly learn to apply for land in a normal channel.
Camnet News will follow the story to see how the matter is finally settled. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
AAC contracting company employees of Mufulira's Mupani copper mines on the copper belt have downed tools demanding for their 3 months unpaid wages. The employees, who have been peacefully working without pay for 3 months, say they will not go back to work if their money is not paid. The employees, who today protested at the District Commissioner's office, have disclosed that they have contracted debt because they have not been receiving monthly salaries when they have rentals and other bills to settle. Meanwhile, United Mines Union of Zambia President Wisdom Ngwira says the situation of the unpaid contractors has become unacceptable and needs government's intervention immediately. Mr. Ngwira says the union has engaged ASC management on several occasions, but nothing positive seems to come up.
Because twalikwata families, twalikwata abana, twalikwata mayanda kusolomkera mayanda. Komba 3 months twale bomfa, twale akunchito lunso. Kama twebo kayen kunchito, twale bomba. Tule mwana production cyose fire fuma, bati bale tweba tindala matapaje. Twaisa kuri ba DC. Twatisa kuri ba DC. But this is the party for what was week. Once about it, before about government, the issue about government. What's about it, to shut to allow me to our police. Intimidation, if I do it in Sarah. So we're asking the government. We're asking the government. Because now we are feeling that you government, you have failed us. Yes. So we're asking the government to pay attention to this matter. Yes. Because this is serious. Yes. Somebody cannot go 3 months without pay. Huh? Honest, all of you are in the offices, you are eating. What do you want to condition to Bombela Popamai? Yeah, you are bad. So, to president. We have a president, which they call at issue. Our Kabushwa mines minister, the power of Wachita. Frida by a problem, mines minister, the vice of Frida, some Kumfa problem, we have a Kumfrida. The Banyan Tagono Lucasa. Baposa of the Marabu Black Mountain. Black Mountain, fish Black Mountain. I guess I
in as much as this problem needs to be sorted out, the unions have joined in making sure that these miners are paid. I'll be talking to the
Residents of Kazomba compound in Solwezi district in Northwestern Province have reminded the local authority to help them bury a trench that has been negatively affecting their livelihood. The trench started as a result of rainfall activities 2 years ago owing to lack of drainages in the area. Febi Kaiva tells Camnet News that they find it difficult to access medical attention due to the bad state of the road. They say during the rainy season the situation worsens and people, especially children, struggle to cross over this stretched ditch.
Solwezi district is the capital of Northwestern Province but is among the least developed districts in Zambia. Despite hosting several mines, service provision in this locality remains poor on the part of the local authority, just like in many areas, including Zambia's capital city, Lusaka. And President Hakainde Hichilema has acknowledged that councils have been sleeping, hence he implored them to stay away from business as usual.
It happened in the last 7 years. It's not happened under your leadership. If you are one who worked in the last 7 years, you must reform. If you don't reform, don't complain when you are taken out and start saying it's tribalism. What tribalism? Ikonaman. What tribalism? It's your performance. Don't complain, reform, change. You are being transferred, some of you from one place to another. Sometimes ask a question, why am I being transferred? People are being nice to you. Otherwise, they should have removed you.
This is Kazomba compound in Solwezi district in Northwestern Province. The people of this community have many challenges. Key among them is the trench that has affected their movements. This bus can no longer move as the trench continues to expand, especially during the rainy season.
Community around me, some they don't have vehicles. They depend on this vehicle. Whatever problem they have, they depend on this vehicle. But this vehicle has been locked. There is no way. This is my home and this is my vehicle, which has not been moving for 2 years now.
This problem started 2 years ago, and their plea is that the Solwezi Municipal Council attends to this challenge. Febi Kaivwa tells Camnet TV News that they find it difficult to access medical attention due to the bad state of the road, especially at night.
Mukwakwa unafucha kuirane ndidune tudina muntu wareba kwende tutumutwara ku chipatera tukwenda nindinga hii twatara kumwereka mu nyuma na kumutwara kundi government itwishiru kumana kunu mukwakwa mwani.
Charity Mutale and Betty Chipango, the local authority needs to help them by barring the ditch and putting up a proper drainage network.
Dinatukwata ma problem natukwata emyotoka kuno n'abantu abamafumo n'abana nomba amaberenga yakusanga munganda nangumuntu leba yabuka bane bana bakwata motoka yarapitira kwisa motoka efine motoka inatukwata motoka omnaba parkinga motoka takuli road kwa kupitira tule akuli ku police atilete 20 kwacha tukala kumanyisha ifo tulefa ukutwamisha ko road bakansela na bameya baloleshe papali ino road unomu akalodi wame ififiri nzabana bale konto kama boko umulandi wa kutawale takula bakutuwamisha road kale batantiyo ukuchita complain pali road tulefa batuwamisha kutu apapata please imyotoka shira pitako mnafa tule uchitako enjoy pa myotoka imyotoka bale parking abantu ubushiku fintu fititika fingi
awe muforo we barongo amene 2 years yakumana bayiwe muforo twabukire ngamba at least kapyotsa kuvotako bintu biketu kwasheko bati monaye
yena ko chatezi wayaka
pano lwamela kwa mara mbaye sizo ndotinge ipite ayo muforo kapera pite jishi ndani ajenda kwa bati sakajifenya.
Their hope is that the matter will be attended to before the onset of the rainy season. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
In other news, Opposition Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda has insisted that there is a plot by the United Party for National Development (UPND) to block former Kabushi Member of Parliament Boma Lusambo and his counterpart Joseph Malangi from contesting in the upcoming by-elections. Speaking shortly after his court appearance Thursday, Mr. Nakachinda alleges that the plot to find something to block the two former members of Parliament from the ruling party is coming direct from Community House. Meanwhile, Mr. Nakachinda pleaded not guilty for defaming President Hakainde Hichilema before the Lusaka Magistrate Court.
With only few weeks remaining for the people of Kabushi and Kwacha constituency, respectively, to vote for their preferred candidate in the by-elections, the Opposition Patriotic Front insists that a plot is being made to block former Kabushi Member of Parliament Boma Lusambo and former Kwacha Member of Parliament Joseph Malangi from contesting in the said by-elections. PF Chairperson for Information and Publicity Raphael Nakachinda maintains the allegation that the ruling party is trying to create a plot on the two former members of Parliament.
That there is a scheme by the UPND directed from Community House to find something they will use to try and block Honorable Lusambo from contesting the Kabushi seat, and also Honorable Malangi from contesting the Kwacha seat. The injustice that has been occasioned to Honorable Malangi as well as Honorable Lusambo is well known, and the Zambian people have spoken loudly.
Mr. Nakachinda has also challenged the Anti-Corruption Commission management to prove themselves that they are not being used as political tools in the fight against corruption.
The chairman of SCC is also an indictment and a litmus test on Mr. Gilbert Piri, whether or not these colleagues have been appointed to SCC as political tools, or indeed they are going to simon their ethics and professionalism in dealing with each matter, including those that involves politicians. If Honorable Lusambo is to be arrested on the ground so far SCC is talking about, it's a total political move to basically just try and defranchise him.
However, those in an alliance with the ruling party have on several occasions refuted claims by the opposition that those being summoned for questioning are being witch hunt.
Our colleagues to say the law is being selective here. It's very clear. If you look at the president, how many times he was summoned, okay? How many times he was summoned at the time that he was in the opposition. He was summoned, reported to the police, he would go and clear his name. This is how fair the law is. So what we are basically saying here is that whoever that is summoned by the security agencies, they shouldn't feel victimized. Let them go be answerable and clear their names. It's clear. It's clear as that. How can the law be selective when they suspiciously think that there was crime here?
Meanwhile, the outspoken PF Information Chairperson, Mr. Nakachinda, earlier appeared before a Lusaka magistrate where he pleaded not guilty to defaming President Hakainde Hichilema. In a case, he is accused of alleging that the president was summoning judges and coercing them to frustrate PF legal battles. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Transparency International Zambia TIZ has urged Zambian government to enact an act that will explicitly regulate the source of campaign funding for political parties in order to avoid corruption. TIZ Program Manager Raymond Mtale says doing so will allow for political parties to be more transparent and accountable in the way they receive and spend donation, as this will foster transparency, accountability and integrity in the management of elections and promotion of an accountable democratic dispensation. Meanwhile, TIZ Democratic Governance Lead Chimuka Nachibinga says TIZ has already engaged political players to teach on the need to have an act that will compel political parties to disclose their source of income.
The
2021 general elections saw the biggest spending on political party campaigns in the history of Zambia by political parties, such as the Patriotic Front, which spent about 16 million kwacha in campaign advertisement in July of 2021, followed by the UPND with a minimum expenditure of about 9.57 million kwacha, and the Socialist Party, which spent a minimum of 3.43 million kwacha, while NAREP and PAC spent a maximum of 405,000 on advertisement during the month under review. And the Anti-Corruption Commission, working with the Drug Enforcement Commission earlier this year, summoned PF Secretary General Davis Mwila to disclose the source of campaign funding, but Mr. Mwila argued that there is no law in Zambia that compels political parties to disclose their sources of income.
No one will disclose the source of funding because as a political party we are not obliged. They can go to heaven, wherever they will go will not disclose. Because this is abuse of the law. Are they investigating UPND, where they got the money, where they got the vehicles? Are they investigating Socialist Party? So they are contradicting themselves. So it will not go anywhere.
In Transparency International Zambia, TIZ says there is need for a legislation that will regulate political party financing in Zambia and how political parties spend their resources in order to ensure that all political parties, including those with no resources, compete favorably on ideologies and not on vote buying. Speaking at a media briefing on enhancing political integrity and transparency in campaign financing in Zambia, TIZ Democratic Governance Lead Chimuka Nachiringa says progress has so far been made in educating players in political sphere on the need to come up with legislation that will regulate political party campaign financing.
One, we actually managed to bring Patriotic Front and UPND in one room to discuss about the same thing, and I think this is what led to the position paper in terms of ensuring that all the political parties agree that we need a piece of legislation as far as campaign financing is concerned. So it's not only, of course, it's not only this particular piece of legislation will not only benefit one political party, it will actually benefit the entire country in terms of curbing corruption and also state capture.
Meanwhile, TIZ Programs Manager Raymond Mutale says he is hopeful that government will enact an act that will explicitly adopt some of the recommendations made by the institution.
And prescribe the following. 1. Disclose and report financial contributions to political parties on a periodic basis, including after elections. Disclose and report financial contributions to political parties during campaigns and before elections. Publication of periodic and final financial reports by political parties. Disclose and report of non-cash contributions to political parties. Sealing on contributions by individuals to political parties, by corporations to political parties, by organizations to political parties.
Keeping big monies out of politics is essential to ensure political decision-making serves the public interest and curb opportunities for corrupt deals. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
And Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyirenda has called on political parties to champion issue-based politics in the coming by-elections. Mr. Nyirenda has called on the Electoral Commission of Zambia, civil society organizations and the church to complement each other in creating voter awareness to avoid voter apathy. He has advised those who are not serious to stay away to avoid subjecting others to more nominations and multiple payments like what transpired during the Kabwata by-election. The Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ has set Thursday 15 September 2022 as the date on which to hold the Kabushi constituency and Kwacha constituency by-elections in the Copperbelt province in Ndola and Kitwe respectively.
The forthcoming by-elections, the Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ has set Thursday 15 September 2022 as the date on which to hold the Kabushi constituency and Kwacha constituency by-elections on the Copperbelt province in Ndola and Kitwe respectively. On Wednesday, Zambians were treated to a surprise from the Socialist Party, who opted to endorse the former ruling party, the Patriotic Front, in what many analysts say is a political gimmick.
Tactical political move, but it is a decision that is anchored on our principles. Similarly, or equally, we will not field a candidate in Kavushi who will support the candidature of Honorable Sambo.
And opposition leadership movement president Dr. Richard Silumbe disclosed that the party will contest the polls whose nomination day is on the 25th of August 2022.
We are participating in all the by-elections, as you are aware. We were not given that opportunity to campaign in the previous general elections. You saw how the PF government behaved with its criminals around. I think we now take opportunity to these programs that are running, and we want to sell our manifesto, as you have seen. I've come with it. This is a leadership movement manifesto, very clear with all the solutions for this country.
And Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyirenda has called for issue-based campaigns during the by-elections.
It's in Kabushi, it's in Kwacha, or it's in Fera for the council chairperson by-election. We expect that the stakeholders would really be serious. And serious, we mean that, for example, the candidates, we expect candidates that are going to campaign on issues and not candidates that are going to be tribal and not candidates that are going to be personal and candidates that are going to be malicious. We expect that candidates and political parties will actually table out their issues to the constituents of these particular areas where they are violent.
He has since implored the Electoral Commission of Zambia, civil society organizations and the church to complement each other in creating voter awareness. He has advised those who are not serious to stay away to avoid subjecting others to more than one nomination and multiple payments, like what transpired during the Kawata by-election.
But we don't expect them to be so much lower than what we saw in the general elections just a year ago. So we expect serious voter turnout by, first of all, ourselves as civil society, the ECZ, the church and other players to play that major role of ensuring that citizens are made aware of the importance of voting. We also do not expect that we will have candidates. While we appreciate that it is their democratic right to file in and to withdraw, we do not expect any candidate that will have such a notion. Whether they will be under duress, under whatever pressure, we expect them to stand and contest the elections from the beginning, after they are nominated, to the end until the winner is declared.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
African Child Policy Forum has challenged the Zambian government to do more in creating a child-friendly environment. Speaking at the National Summit on Girls in Zambia, held in LUSAKA Thursday, Forum Executive Director Dr. Joanne Nyanyuki says the fact that Zambia has this year been ranked 37 out of 52 African countries as the least child-friendly shows that the environment does not favor the children. Meanwhile, Vice President Mtalena Lumango has pledged to ensure that more child-friendly policies are enacted to protect children so that they can live to their full potential.
Not choose where we are born from actually, because Kiva's interest is to see children live a happy life, equally just like any other child in the world. Thank you.
Children in Zambia have continued to be subjected to abuse, and their rights have continued to be infringed upon by those they call their guardians and strangers who in any case are supposed to protect them. Ministry of Community Development, working with the African Child Policy Forum and Kids Alive Zambia, Thursday held a symposium on the state of girls in Zambia and other vulnerable children. The children used the platform to appeal to the government through the Office of the Vice President to look into many issues that affect them, among them early marriage, child abuse, and lack of opportunities.
The government should end teenage pregnancies by raising awareness of the girls in schools and in communities on sexual and reproductive health and the negative effects of teenage pregnancies. The government should also end child marriage by addressing its root causes such as poverty, lack of awareness about the effects of child marriage, and discriminatory norms in society.
Meanwhile, African Child Policy Forum Executive Director Dr. Joan Nyanyuka has called for more interventions in children's matters by the authority, stating that Zambia has this year been ranked 37 out of 52 African countries as least child-friendly nation and 14 in the SADC region.
Zambia at 37 in Africa. Among its immediate neighbors in SADC, Zambia ranks 14. This is not good. But it is also an opportunity for us to have reflections as these and see what needs to be done. Because these rankings paint a sobering picture. They tell us that the efforts still do not yet match the enormous needs that girls have.
And Vice President Mutalena Lumango, who was guest of honor, says despite the efforts that have so far been made, much still needs to be done to protect the interest of over 4 million children in Zambia.
Number 37 in Africa. You were very kind in the choice of your words, Doctor. But I think we are embarrassed. And we should not remain with embarrassment. We should remain to be focused and work hard. We have those that have gone before, those that have done better. We will continue to see what we can do, copying from them.
Ending poverty in Zambia can only be attainable if the root cause are dealt with, and one such problem is that of children's right being infringed upon.
Let us realize that compassion has a much stronger meaning than simply feeling sorry for someone.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Auditor General, Dr. Dix Chembe, says the civil society organizations, CSOs, remain strategic and vital to audit work and to fostering good governance and accountability in the country. Dr. Sichembe says CSOs support the improvement of people's lives by helping to ensure that public resources and projects affecting them are adequately supervised, achieve and the desire to impact and improve livelihoods and equal opportunities of all citizens. He says it is important that the two parties mount a combined and sustainable fight against mismanagement of public resources. Dr. Sichembe was speaking when he officially opened the workshop for the Office of the Auditor General for the CSOs to understand the work of the Auditor General. And the Auditor General says one of the frustrations his office continuously receives from citizens is that of lack of inadequate action on the audit findings reported yearly by the Auditor General. Meanwhile, Dr. Sichembe disclosed that as of 2021, the number of outstanding matters awaiting to be resolved from the previous report of the Auditor General stood at 702 for the period of 2009 to 2018.
Transparency, accountability, and prudent management of public resources are vital to the development of any society world over. When public resources are mismanaged through corruption, fraud, etc., key social sectors such as health, education, social welfare, water supply and sanitation, and food security are severely affected. This regrettably results in citizens that are most vulnerable and poor to bear the adverse consequences of such mismanagement. Considering these risks, the existence of effective public oversight institutions, such as the Supreme Audit Institution, becomes not only necessary but crucial in the well-being and development of society. Supreme Audit Institution, such as Office of the Auditor General, help in preventing and detecting the mismanagement of public resources. These resources which are saved can be channeled to social sectors and other need areas.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
It's census time. The 2022 Census of Population and Housing will be conducted from 18th August to 14th September 2022. The census collects a lot of data for use in various aspects of social and economic planning for the country. We are all required to participate in the census by being counted. You will be counted from your usual dwelling place by a census enumerator. Please receive and cooperate with the census enumerator and provide the required information when you will be visited. Your responses to the census questions will be treated with strict confidentiality and will be used for statistical purposes only.
Hi, I'm coming to count you.
Because everyone counts! This message is brought to you by the Zambia Statistics Agency with support from the UNFPA.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the rest of the main news. Mahatma Gandhi Primary School head teacher Alfreda Njovu says the current pupil-to-computer ratio at her school is worrying as there are only 9 computers against over 3,000 students. Speaking when officials from the Zambia Information Communications Technology Authority ZAMBIA visited the school to assess the access to information communications technology ICT, Mr. Njovu explains that the situation, which is uniform in most government schools, has been resulting in pupils only learning theory. Meanwhile, ZAMBIA has given 10 computers to the school to cushion the challenge, urging other stakeholders to come on board and support the Ministry of Education in the delivery of ICTs.
While the benefits of learning information communications technology ICTs in schools are well noted, the pupil-to-computer ratio in most schools, not only those in rural areas but also those in urban areas, has continued to be a concern, as most pupils have only been parting away with theory due to inadequate computers. A case in point is Mahatma Gandhi Primary School in Lusaka, which currently has 9 computers against over 3,000 pupils. School head teacher Alfreda Njovu said this when officials from the Zambia Information Communication Technology Authority ZAMBIA visited the school to assess the computer literacy situation and hand over 10 computers provided by the Zambia Institute of Marketing ZIM to cushion the deficit.
At now, the school population is 3,258, and the population of the candidates that are going to write exams that are making use of these computers, which we had before, the 9 of them, it was very sad because we had only 9 computers against 450 candidates. But the coming of these 10 computers, it's a plus, and I'm sure the learners will also be happy just as I am today.
Meanwhile, ZAMBIA Acting Director General Pethel Piri has emphasized the need to ensure that schools are well stocked with computers in this digital era.
Our goal is to have a digitally literate citizenry with basic computer skills, basic computer know-how, and that is why we support any future technology development. And going by our new strategic focus, we are confident that we shall live the true meaning of what it means to be digitally inclusive.
In adding his voice, ZIM President Mwewawesa has called on other bodies to emulate the gesture and support computer literacy in schools.
We're living in an age and a time. If you look at a few months ago, not too long ago, we had COVID.
and most of the institutions moved away from physical presence in terms of work, even teaching, to the use of computers. I shudder to think how that would be possible with 9 computers. But my guess is that with the little donation that is being made today, it will make that task a lot easier.
The Ministry of Education, through its Director for Secondary Education, Yvonne Chulu, has also added its voice.
This donation today of 10 computers to Mahatma Gandhi Primary is a clear indication of government's resolve and commitment to improving the quality of education for our learners across all educational levels and curricula. I have no doubt, DG, that this donation will not only improve the quality of education at the school, but will also result in a quality workforce, which in turn results in enhanced efficiency and productivity.
Keeping abreast with new media technologies is key to excelling in various areas as the world is constantly going digital. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Professional Teachers Union PROTUS says the pending overhaul in the school curriculum, as announced by the Ministry of Education, should be coupled with a fast-track training for teachers who are already employed to ensure that they are well-skilled to provide necessary training. In an interview, PROTUS General Secretary Kangwa Msenga also adds that there is need to ensure that the education curriculum for teachers at tertiary institutions is also overhauled to meet the new standards. The PROTUS General Secretary further says there is need to ensure that reforms in the school curriculum produce various skills so as to meet the country's development needs. He was reacting to the recent statement by Ministry of Education, Douglas Siakalima, that the process of overhauling the school curriculum from grade 1 to 12 is underway to include training such as entrepreneurial skills.
What we now want to see is, after the overhaul of the curriculum, are the current teachers able to teach, or we have to take them for refresher courses so that they handle the current curriculum? The answer is yes. We have to take them for refresher courses in order to handle the curriculum. So we're expecting the curriculum to in-house the development skills of the children, so that at the end of their grade 12 education, either they are able to develop the skills into life maintenance skills, so that even when they don't have that required job, they are able to sustain themselves. So basically, we are pleased for the response from government that they're going to overhaul the curriculum. It has been long overdue, and hopefully during this interaction to overhaul the curriculum, most of the stakeholders will be called to participate in order to have an all-inclusive curriculum, especially even the headmen, the chiefs. They should be part, because those are the people in the rural areas who have difficulties to comprehend the curriculum.
Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities Board member Edwin Banda has appealed to persons with disabilities that are currently protesting at the agency to vacate the premises. This follows the ongoing protests over the confirmation of Nicholas Goma as the Director General. Speaking to the media, Mr. Banda says there is a procedure done in the selection of ZAPD Director General. Meanwhile, disability and human rights activist John Chiti has urged the protesters to allow the staff at ZAPD to operate and conduct their activities without any disturbances.
15th August 2022 witnessed operations at the Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities coming to a standstill as the premises have been made a camping site for persons with disabilities who up to now are protesting over the return of Mr. Nicholas Goma as the Director General of the institution. Mr. Goma was acting Director General at the agency but was not confirmed, the action that has led to the continued protests. Despite the protest, Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities board member Edwin Banda has appealed to the protesters to leave the agency and allow the staff at the institution to conduct their operations.
The ongoing protest at Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities. The source of the protests are that certain organizations for persons with disabilities, specifically those with physical disabilities, are reacting to the recall by the Minister of Community Development of Mr. Nicholas Goma being taken back to the Minister of Community Development. Now, they want him to be back as the Director General for Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities. And that is the reason why we have seen that there have been these protests. And it has been quiet from the board side because they have been airing their grievances via different media platforms. But in reacting to the protests, our reaction as a board is that we have been in touch with the people protesting, and we have been getting their views, their demands, and we have been telling them to say, look, yes, you want the Mr. Nicholas Goma to be back, but this is not something that can just happen abruptly, no.
When interviewed about Julian Mwape as Director General, the board member notes that the agency cannot respond to the matter as her case is in the courts of law.
They are also not in support of the return of Madam Julian Mwape. On that one, we had a ruling just last week. So that ruling came out to tell us to say, whatever you are doing, put it in what is being on hold, meaning that we need to do what? To wait until we hear from the court of authorities to say, this is the step that we can do, that we can take.
Meanwhile, disability and human rights activist John Chiti has also urged the protesters to vacate the premises.
I went there physically to interact with them when I received such reports, and some of the issues they were raising to me is that they talked about them not wanting the former DG Julian to come back, which is not the case. I think it's just the issue of misinformation, because the situation is that she's not coming back and her case is in court, so we cannot really comment much. We have to wait until her issues are resolved. The other issue they raised were that they want the former acting DG, who is Mr. Goma, to come back and take over as DG. Okay, and they have said they will not leave that place until the DG comes back. And they're saying they don't want anyone else apart from Mr. Goma to be the DG of Zapit.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
In other news, Rufunza Member of Parliament Shio Muliata has called on opposition political leaders to work with the government if development is to be enhanced in their areas. Speaking when she addressed Ndambwa resettlement scheme settlers in Mulamba ward of Rufunza district, Mrs. Muliata, who is also Lusaka province minister, said time for politicking ended when the New Dawn government was elected into power, and this is the period to deliver to the electorates. The Lusaka province minister called on Mulambe PF councillor Mavuto Banda to work with the government in order to enhance development in the respective wards and the constituency at large. And Rufunza District Commissioner Richard Mabena has assured the Ndambwa resettlement scheme settlers that the government is committed to ensuring that development is taken to all parts of the country. This was after the settlers presented challenges they are facing, among them lack of road network, water, health post and school.
Rufunza Member of Parliament Shio Muliata is on the ground creating awareness on the developmental agenda of government, where she has called on the opposition political leaders to work with the government to enhance development in the country.
Kuno munasanga tenze vipani viviri. Inenchokera ku UPND, wakansela vanu wachokera ku PF, batika mbati tisenzele pamozi. sibayenera kuyopa ine mulandu ati abani bamu UPND nishi sibaza serenza bwino chitukuko chilibe kuti uyu achokera ku UPND uyu achokera ku PF njala ni mozi njala ni mozi boma ilipo ni ya UPND sebenzemo nga banja imozi
Rufunsa District Commissioner Richard Mabena says the challenge of road network will soon be addressed by the Department of Resettlement.
Road ina ndalama zamene zilipo za ngono za kuti zatenga ku bantu kuti bachite bwanji bayasi kuona pamene marodi azapita wanatenga plani yobera kusenzerako pamanjira aya.
Mrs. Muriata also urged the people to take advantage of the increased constituency development funds, which has a component of empowerment funds and bursaries to improve their livelihoods.
Zimai kodi muziwa kuti kulina ndalama zamene bachita empower zamene wapasa wazimai mukalembana ka cooperative mwakamba mati ise kwena kuno tingachite gardening ulo tingasunge nkuku tingasunge mbuzi tingalele ulo nkumba chili chonse chamene muona timungachite.
Ndambo resettlement scheme was established in 2001 with majority of the people who were allocated land coming from outside the district. Reporting in Rufunsa district, I am Mseki Wantembe.
International and sports news coming through right after this commercial.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
It's census time. The 2022 Census of Population and Housing will be conducted from 18th August to 14th September 2022. The census collects a lot of data for use in various aspects of social and economic planning for the country. We are all required to participate in the census by being counted. You will be counted from your usual dwelling place by a census enumerator. Please receive and cooperate with the census enumerator and provide the required information when you will be visited. Your responses to the census questions will be treated with strict confidentiality and will be used for statistical purposes only.
Hi, I'm coming to count you.
Because everyone counts.
This message is brought to you by the Zambia Statistics Agency with support from the UNFPA.
Welcome back. We now get into international news. Flash floods triggered by heavy rains continue to tear up homes across Sudan this week, with the death toll rising to 66 since the start of the rainy season, an official said. Earlier this week, authorities said that at least 50 people were killed since the rain started in June. Brigadier General Abdul Jalil Abdurrahim, spokesman for Sudan's National Council for Civil Defense, said Tuesday that at least 28 people were reported injured during the same period. Some 24,000 homes and 24 government buildings have been badly damaged or completely destroyed, he said. Sudan has been without a functioning government since an October military coup derailed as its short-lived democratic transition following the 2019 removal of longtime autocrat Omar al-Bashir in a popular uprising. Overall, around 136,000 people have been impacted by heavy rainfall and floods in 12 of Sudan's 18 provinces, according to the government-run Humanitarian Aid Commission. Sudan's rainy season usually starts in June and lasts until the end of September, with floods peaking in August and September. Here's a roundup of international news.
Flash floods triggered by heavy rains continued to cause devastation across Sudan this week, with the death toll rising to 66 since the start of the rainy season, according to officials. Overall, around 136,000 people have been impacted by heavy rainfall and floods in 12 of Sudan's 18 provinces. All people are left in the streets. The houses collapsed and the livestock died. Everything is gone. We're in a deplorable situation and the people are always alert but can't control the damage. Some 24,000 homes and 24 government buildings have been badly damaged or completely destroyed. The rains have also washed away roads and bridges, paralyzing communication links. This area of Makelab village hosts around 250 to 300 houses that collapsed and are all gone. That I know. There's also the Nabawya area in the eastern part of the village. It's all gone. The saloons, the rooms and the kitchens are all damaged. Sudan's rainy season usually starts in June and lasts until the end of September, with floods peaking in August and September. More than 80 people were killed last year in flood-related incidents.
A solemn ceremony for a man of playful character. Senegalese-born and TikTok megastar Kabilam became an Italian citizen Wednesday. The comic performer, who arrived in Italy as a toddler, swore to be faithful to the Republic and to observe the Constitution and all laws. Well, I am very proud because I already felt Italian before, before today. It is not that before signing I did not feel Italian, so very little has changed. It is in the Chivasso City Hall that Lam received a new citizenship. He grew up in a poor area of the city, which is located outside of Turin. When COVID hit, he lost his work and turned to social media, only to become a superstar. I have always lived in the slums. Now it's very different because back then, in our having nothing, we were happy, we were glad, we played in the courtyard, even though we had nothing. Anyways, yes, it's another reality. It's a whole new world to which I still need to get used to. But I am gradually adapting. Lam, like many children to migrant parents in Italy, had to wait to become an adult before receiving the citizenship. It is a new chapter in the life of the public figure. The most followed TikTok user in the world now works with brands and gets sponsorship contracts.
At least 38 people have died in forest fires that affected 14 departments in northern Algeria, reviving the spectre of the summer of 2021, the deadliest in the country's modern history. Television images showed residents of the city fleeing their homes in the face of flames. According to local media, more than 350 families fled their homes in Souk Haras.
We now get into sports news. Manchester City have been charged by the Football Association after fans invaded the pitch following last season's Premier League title win. Thousands of City fans poured onto the pitch as the club won its 4th title in 5 seasons by beating Aston Villa 3-2 on the final day at Etihad Stadium. Aston Villa keeper Robin Olsen was attacked during the disorder while the crossbar was broken. City have until Thursday 25th August to respond to the charge. In May, 2 people were charged in connection with the pitch invasion, while Greater Manchester Police said last month that it was still investigating a number of offences, including criminal damage. City scored 3 goals in 5 minutes as they came from 2-0 down with 15 minutes remaining to beat Villa and win the title by 1 point from Liverpool. Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. A LUSAKA man tortures his house after a marital dispute. Veteran journalist media trainer EDEM DJOKOTOE dies. VEEP assures child protection in Zambia. And in international news, flash floods wash away homes in Sudan, over 60 dead. And in sports, Premier League champions Manchester City charged after pitch invasion on final day of 2021-2022 season. Before we go, our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Philippians 1 verse 21, and it reads, "To me to live is Christ, and to die is gain." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Musea Sakaleji. Good evening.